Hola clase, nosotros vamos a estudiar los verbos reflexivos. We're going to study reflexive verbs. So, let's start with thinking about what a reflexive verb is. Sometimes in Spanish there are verbs that reflect action back onto the subject. So if it refers to you or yourself, it is reflexive. For example, the action that you do to yourself is reflexive. So look at this sentence that's on the screen. Joaquín se ducha por la mañana. So Joaquín takes a shower in the morning. He showers himself. Now I want you to stop the video in a moment and I want you to write down the chart that you see in front of you in your notes. You need to put the infinitive of the verb. The example verb they have is lavarse. This means for one to wash themselves. So, if I say yo me lavo, I'm saying I wash myself. We usually say I wash up. Tú te lavas, you wash yourself. Usted se lava, ella se lava. Notice that there is a second pronoun here. We have me, we have te, and we have se. All right, those are also pronouns, but they're called reflexive pronouns. You must use them when the action reflects back on the subject. In the plural, we have nosotros or nosotros nos lavamos. Vosotros, which we don't usually use, but takes os laváis. Ustedes se lavan. Ellos, ellas se lavan. Now make sure that you write down the right pronoun, the right reflexive pronoun, and the right verb with the correct ending. Then, when you're done, restart the video. The pronoun se, attached to an infinitive, identifies the verb as reflexive, lavarse. The verb lavar means to wash. You might wash your car, you might wash your dog, you might wash up the baby. If you do those things, that is lavar. But when you wash up or wash yourself, we add the se on the end, and the verb is lavarse. When a reflexive verb is conjugated, the reflexive pronoun agrees with the subject, like you just wrote. Me afeito means I shave myself. Te despiertas a las 7, you wake up at 7 o'clock. Look at the first picture here on the bottom of the slide. There's a gentleman who says, me ducho, me cepillo los dientes, me visto y listo. I'd like you to try to translate that. Pause the slide and translate that. You also want to translate the second slide. And the gentleman says, ay, los estudiantes siempre se acuestan tarde. Write what you think that means down to, and this is part of your homework, so make sure you try it. Like object pronouns, reflexive pronouns generally appear before a conjugated verb. With infinitives and present participles, they may also be placed before the conjugated verb or attached to the infinitive or present participle. Either way, the structure is acceptable. So you can say, ellos se van a vestir, or ellos van a vestirse, they are going to get dressed. Nos estamos lavando las manos, or estamos lavándonos las manos. But notice that they did leave the accent on that A when they added on the nos. Atención, when a reflexive pronoun is attached to a present participle, an accent mark is added to maintain the original stress. So, bañando becomes bañándose. Durmiendo becomes durmiéndose. It sounds the same when you add that. Now, here's the reflexive verb list that's in your book and is also attached to the forms I both passed out and have put on the wiki in case you need another one. Please make sure that you know all of these common reflexive verbs. If there's anything that you don't have, why don't you pause the video and write these down as well. In class, we talked about the fact that the book does give you hints, and so there are some stem changing verbs like acordarse, to remember, you're going to say, so if you want to say I go to bed, you're going to say me acuesto, not me acosto. Even though in the nosotros form, of course, you're going to say nos acostamos. If you want to write that down as a sample to remember, that's just one example. All right, now we're going to compare and contrast. Unlike English, remember I said at the beginning, a number of verbs in Spanish can be reflexive or non-reflexive. If the verb acts upon the subject, the reflexive form is used. If the verb acts upon something other than the subject, the non-reflexive form is used. So here again we have the verb lavar. Lola lava los platos. Lola is washing the plates. But look, Lola se lava la cara. Lola is washing her face. And so what we do is we change the form in Spanish to the reflexive form. We don't change the word la cara, la. We do not change that to her because we've already said her with the pronoun se. As the preceding sentences show, reflexive verbs sometimes have different meanings than their non-reflexive counterparts. For example, lavar meaning to wash, while lavarse means to wash oneself or to wash up. Okay, atención, parts of the body or clothing are generally not referred to with the possessives, as I just mentioned, but with the definite article. So, la niña se quitó los zapatos. What do you think that means? Yes, she took off her shoes. Necesito cepillarme los dientes. I need to brush my teeth. And in our last slide here, you're almost done. I want you to write down these 10 sentences and fill in the 4 blanks that need to be completed. Try it, and we'll do some work with these in class tomorrow. Hasta mañana.